Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Clash Royale episode. Today, I'll be discussing the new balance changes announced by Supercell that are going to be coming out tomorrow. I'm going to be really explaining in depth what do these changes immediately affect from what I see, and how they might affect the meta as a whole. So I'm just going to read them down the list. So first, we got the Elite Barb nerf. So the damage is decreased by 4%, health decreased by 4%, and attack decreased from 1.4 seconds to 1.5 seconds. So really, we all expected it. I mean, Elite Barbs were just so good, both on offense and defense, and this was a really good nerf. They're still going to be amazing on defense. They'll be a great tank killer and everything, but they'll be a lot easier to deal with on offense. So I completely agree with that change. So next we have the Electro Wizard. His health is increased by 9%, and his spawn damage is decreased by 6%. And with his health increase, he now won't be one shot with a fireball. And this is I don't know if this change is a little overpowered because I mean it's good because Electro Wizard is such a good defensive unit, but you can't really rely on it well if it can be one shot for an equal elixir trade. So that's good, but I'm not sure if there's enough to differentiate itself with the Musketeer, which I'll be discussing later. And then the Zap is just, I'll be explaining that later too, and what I think about that. Then there are the Archers. Their health is decreased by 4%. That, I feel like it won't make much of a difference. Archers aren't really known for having high HP. They're mainly just known for their all around attack and defense. What I think would be a big nerf is, or suitable nerf actually, is if they reduce the attack speed so that it's less effective as a support troop because you don't really count on its health that much. So log damage decreased by 4% and knockback effect reduced. The damage, I guess I understand why. I mean, it did way too much damage for a 2 elixir, even if it only targeted ground. But I don't know. I feel like since it only attacks ground, that it needs to have something about it. And the knockback effect, I really don't understand either, because it's kind of the main part of it. And log isn't, in my opinion, it wasn't really used as much when people stopped using Tombstone, because log was the main counter to Tombstone, but with Dark Goblin and Poison kind of going back in the meta, I don't really see as much of that. So I don't really agree with that, but maybe it might work out. Ice Golem health decreased by 5%. Death damage, radius, and duration reduced. Now, I was very surprised by this. When I saw that Supercell was going to... I knew that Supercell was going to nerf that card. I mean, it's so good for 2 elixir, but I really didn't expect it to be... I thought that they would just decrease the death damage so that Zap plus Ice Golem can't kill Minion Horde, but I mean, I feel like it's still going to be really viable in the meta. Maybe a little too overpowered still, but we'll see. So Ice Spear damage decreased by 10%, and the only reason why is for Minion Horde, which I don't get. If you're going to nerf the Ice Spear, and people don't really use the Ice Spear as much. As I scroll down here, like, people don't really use it that much, so I don't see why you have to do that. Maybe Supercell's trying to bring back Minion Horde, but I don't know. agree with that. So now we've got um, the wizard attack range increased by half a tile, which might not really seem like much, but when you think about it, that's a lot of extra damage. I mean, think of the musketeer. The only reason why it's so strong is because of its long attack range. It outranges other units, allowing it to get more hits. And I think that's good. Wizard really needs a lot of buffs, and I think Supercell's really focusing on it. What I really thought that Supercell should have done, though, was to increase the health of Wizard, because for 5 elixir it doesn't really have that much health. So more health would mean that it can survive longer on the battle and provide more value for your troops. But we'll see how that works. And then the big one that everyone was complaining about, zap damage decreased by 6%. So that now zap will not be able to one shot will not be able to one shot goblins, including goblin barrel goblins. So I see a lot of people have really been annoyed by this because everyone used zap. And I'm just going to get into how my opinions of this. Honestly, I don't feel like Spellbait will be overpowered, even though there will be less viable counters to Minion Horde with there being more log used. I don't think Spellbait will really become an issue, even though there's going to be the new Goblin Gang and everything. I don't think it's going to be an issue. I mean, people don't realize how Fire Spirits can one shot can solo they can solo a Goblin Barrel. So that's a good counter. Another good counter, Valkyrie. It's a decent counter. And there's just so much. The new Executioner is going to do a great job against Goblin Barrel. Dark Goblin does a good job. And I think Ice Golem will still be used because Zap Bait will be stronger. So I don't think that... I think Zap Bait will be stronger, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be overpowered. So here's another thing. I was wondering if Trifecta might finally make a comeback, because really Valkyrie is great against Spellbait, and if we see more Spellbait, yeah, you're going to need the Valkyrie to take down some of that stuff. Electro Wiz gets killed by Valkyrie. With the health decrease of archers, hopefully, I think Valkyrie might be able to one-shot it. I'm not 100% sure. If Valkyries can one-shot archers, then that's going to be a major difference. Then there's what is it? The Wizard. Another card that's getting buffed that Trifecta is really strong at dealing with, again with the Valkyrie. So yeah, Elite Barbs are a pretty good counter to Trifecta, and they're getting nerfed, so hopefully they won't be as strong. And yeah, another thing, with Ice Golem Trifecta, I think it's going to stay about the same because, let me just check my notification. Okay. With the thing with Ice Golem Trifecta, I don't think much is going to be changed about it. Ice Golem, in my opinion, is going to stay pretty viable still. So yeah, I don't think... Maybe they might switch it up, like instead of using skeletons, they might use goblins. But other than that, I think Ice Golem Trifecta is here to stay. Okay, here's another one. Bowler Graveyard. So really, if people aren't using as much Zap, right? That's the only instantaneous spell that can really take care of Skeleton Army that your opponent might use on your graveyard. So let's say you place down your graveyard and they counter with Skeleton Army. It's going to be so hard to really counter the Skeleton Army when your arrows or Fireball takes and Zap can't even get back there, but they can't really deal with the Skeleton Army fast enough that you can really punish your opponent for making that risky play. But I was thinking, and I've been using this from the start. I don't understand why other people don't use it, but I've been using Graveyard Poison because I started using it because I was having a lot of trouble with guards because my Fireball just wouldn't kill the guards. But with Poison shreds through guards and it counters everything that Graveyard is weak to. And, it's a lot better against... Poison's a lot better against Minion Horde, Skeleton Army. So I'm predicting that might be the new where Graveyard is going into. I don't think Graveyard is going anywhere. I think it's a very good card in terms of skill and how fun it is to play. And I really like the card. So yeah, I think Supercell agrees with me with that. So now with arrows, and Supercell just really wants people to use arrows, and really the reason why no one uses arrows is because they're not unique. Like they don't serve that much purpose. I mean, besides arrowing let's say a Skeleton Army or a Minion Horde, there's other ways to deal with those cards. And, something like the Log, it's really special, right? It knocks back the units. Zap stuns. Fireball does really good damage for great value. Rocket does insane damage. And all these cards, they have something special, and Zap's kind of awkwardly there, not really serving any purpose. So what I think needs is arrows really needs a speed buff, like how fast arrows reach, so that it can be used more on offense in conjunction with other cards, kind of that problem with Graveyard. So yeah, I think Poison will definitely be used more in the meta, as it's really the only other instantaneous spell other than Zap. So yeah, so now we move on to... So I was wondering what might happen to Beatdown, and I don't think Beatdown is going anywhere. I think Beatdown right now is still going to go strong and healthy. However, I think it's going to change a little. For example, it won't... it might utilize more Wizard to clear out squishy units. It might use more Electro Wizard as a counter pushing tactic. But otherwise, I think Beatdown is fine. Yeah, Beatdown isn't really affected by this. Except, maybe Inferno Tower, but you just have to run Zap then to deal with Inferno Towers. Or maybe Lightning. Maybe Lightning might make a comeback with Beatdown. I don't really know. So now we're moving on to... Oh yeah. So what about Hog Rider Chip? Kind of a chip cycle with Hog Rider. And I think those are going to make the classic Hog chip that will be like, I don't know, Hog Rider, Fire Spirit, Spear Goblins, Stab Goblins, Inferno Tower, stuff like that. Mini P.E.K.K.A. I think that's going to make a comeback with the Mega Minion nerf. People might be using more, people might be using more Mini P.E.K.K.A. And when people use more Mini P.E.K.K.A, then, yeah, I think it's going to make a comeback. And then Also, the thing with stab goblins is if you send them with a hog rider, normally you could just, zap the goblins and ignore them and just forget about them. But now, since people aren't going to be running zap as often, you'll have to deal with those goblins head on. You can't just zap and forget. You have to do something about them. So I think that will be making a comeback. Um, yeah, Ice Spirit. Maybe it might be incorporating the Ice Golem, but I think Classic Hog Chip is going to be coming back in some iteration. Maybe not exactly. We'll see. So now, I was wondering about Tombstone because, Tombstone. I don't know. I don't think Tombstone is going to be a major part of the meta anymore. I mean, already we've kind of seen its decline. But I don't know. For some reason, I don't really have a reason, but I just feel like Tombstone is like not going to be used as much. Like, don't like insult me or anything for this, but I just have this feeling. It's weird. So, yeah. Now we have Sparky come back. So Sparky Infernal Dragon, if the usage of Zap decreases, are those cards going to make a comeback? Like Infernal Dragon, Sparky, anything that gets reset, like Infernal Tower? And the answer is, in my opinion, not really, besides Infernal Tower. I think Infernal Tower is going to see more use. But other than that, those two cards are so easy to counter. You don't even have to use Zap to reset. You can use Skeletons to you can use any small troop to distract. And I don't know. Sparky is just not. Sparky and Infernal Dragon are fairly poorly designed cards because they're so easy to counter that they're just not worth it to use. I mean, they're just not worth it to use. So now we're going to be moving on to Peccadillo Prince, and honestly, I don't think Peccadillo Prince is going to make a comeback. Peccadillo Prince, with the rise in Electro Wizard, I think that's just going to make Peccadillo Prince even harder to use because you're going to have to stall. Like you have the Electro Wizard to continually stop the charge of the princes, and really that's where all the power of Peccadillo Prince derives from. It derives from the fact that you can those cards can charge and do tons of damage on their initial hit. And without that, I don't know, it's just even more underpowered. And I don't know, Rocket's Cycle, I honestly have no idea about that. If you guys in the comment section want to debate what might happen to Rocket Cycle, go ahead. I'm guessing if Sparky usage increases, then so will Rocket Cycle. But other than that, that's really all I can think of. So we'll see. And the last thing I want to discuss is, after the update, the difference between Musketeer, Electro Wizard, and regular Wizard. So, a lot of people are complaining how now that Electro Wizard is got that big buff, that it's going to overshadow Musketeer. And honestly, I agree and disagree at the same time. I kind of agree because Electro, it's going to become a lot more reliable defense. It serves about the same role as Musketeer. But at the same time, I feel like Musketeer, you still need Musketeer for that solid point defense. Yeah, not that many cards can just offer that really well-balanced, solid punch that really because Electro Wizard, in a big push, his kind of his beams are very weak. They're more used for the freeze, like the stun mechanic. And Wizard, yeah, Wizard is just a splash musketeer. Depends. If there's more spell bait, then maybe Wizard might see a comeback. But other than that, I don't see Wizard making a comeback. It just doesn't. It's just not good. Everything about that card isn't good. There's just so many better cards that you can use instead of Wizard, especially with the Executioner coming out. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you guys. Comment below, like, subscribe, if you want to hear more about the meta, or if you want to discuss about what you think will happen to the meta. Comment below, and I'll try to respond to as many of you guys as possible. So yeah, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. I don't know. I suck at outros, so I'm just gonna kind of leave it here and kind of just stay silent as I just watch this replay. Socially awkward. Woo.